Hello everyone, my name is Alessandro and this is the Temple of Surf, the podcast. We will give you full access to the best surfers, skaters, shapers, surfboard collectors, shop owners in the world. Discover with me their stories, the greatest successes, amazing behind the scenes and much more. This episode is brought to you by Yogi Pipe, a line of apparel created with eco-friendly materials by artisans from all over the world. Let's discover more about them and their collection on www.yogipipe.surf. Hello everyone, welcome to the 20th episode of the Temple of Surf podcast, second season. Today with us from Brazil, big wave surfing legend Carlos Burle. Let's discover more about his career, big wave riding, future projects, and much more. Hi, Carlos, and welcome to the show. Where are you today?
Well, I'm here in Rio de Janeiro, where I live, Brazil.
Today, we're going to talk about surfing, of course. We're going to talk about coaching, and we're going to talk about your future projects. But the first question that I have for you, in your opinion, what is the most important thing in surfing?
The most important thing in surfing for me is to be connected with nature, to be present, to understand the situation, to have the best reading about it, to be grateful. And of course, you're going to be able to learn more out of your experience by being humble. And if you do that, everything that I just said from your heart, it's going to be an amazing experience.
Exactly. Is that thing that brings the smile on your face, right? Is the fact that you forget everything that happens in your life and you are alone with the nature, and that is so powerful, right?
It is, and especially when you use surf as a tool to evolve yourself, to get better and to understand life in better ways. If you stop to think about how we cope with surfing, it is a very pleasant situation if you have an open mind and an open heart and you are willing to understand and learning from the experience. We can't control our arena. We can only understand how our environment is throwing anything on us. When you go out and you want to build up, let's say, a place where you can skate or a place where you can play football or tennis, any kind of arena where you can't control the environment, it's much easier for you to cope with, to understand, and you're not gonna get frustrated because you can control the situation much easier. But when it comes to surf, you're not controlling anything, you're not dominating anything. It's everything is out of your hands. And for nowadays, comparing with the situation that we are living right now in our lives, where we are dealing with this situation, we don't know where is it going to take us, and we can't control anything. It has a lot to do with surfing. We can't control. We have to be flexible. We have to have resilience because we fall a lot. We have to be humble because nature is much more powerful than us. Sometimes if you create a lot of expectation, you're gonna get frustrated because that doesn't happen the way you think all the time when you go surf. And I really like that environment because trains you as a human being to not be spoiled. To be able to, sometimes, you wanted to surf the wave of your life, but you get to the beach and there is no surf at all, or it's not the way you expect. So you have to change your plan. You have to adapt yourself. You have to be creative. And those things are very important for our lives, especially if you, put everything that I just said to you in what is going on in our, community, in our society nowadays. Everybody had a lot of plans. Everybody was kind of secure about their life. Everybody was on control, and now nobody's in control.
What you're saying about being humble is definitely applicable to what we are living today. And definitely, I guess, when you have such a companion like the ocean that you cannot control, then you can be whoever champion in the world or just a beginner, but if it goes, you cannot do it by yourself, right?
Yeah, and that's very important, because as human beings, we are used to create things on our own way. Change nature just to serve us all the time. We want to control, we want to dominate, we want to evolve. There is nothing wrong on that, but life is not only about that. Life is not giving us only what we want from life. Life is always giving us what we need to evolve. So it's a very important way of dealing with life, and it's a mindset that I like to take in my personal experience as human being, that life for me, it's a matter of understanding how I'm going to cope with it and how I'm going to take all those experiences that life is throwing on me to evolve, mentally and spiritually. Because, when it comes to physically, it's more like going to the gym or, doing some sports or things that you can control much often. But your mind and your spirit, it's something that you need something else to understand how to evolve. It's not only a physical things where, you just go to the gym and you repeat some types of exercise and then you become stronger. As a rational being, we have to understand how our mind works and how we're going to cope with our emotion and how we're going to cope with those energies that we are not seeing, energies that are intangibles. I don't know how exactly to say it in English, but you cannot touch them. But they are very strong and they are present everywhere. And especially when it comes to surf, in my point of view, it's present there all the time. You cannot choose the wave that you're going to surf next. It's all about nature. And we have to deal with those emotions all the time. And I think I found that very beautiful and very profound. And it's a treasure, you cannot find anywhere. And that's why I love surfing. That's why I keep surfing. And that's why I wanted to be a professional surfer, because when I first started getting related with surfing, I started because I really like the lifestyle. I didn't want it to be a professional surfer. I just wanted a nice excuse to be surrounded by these elements that I love so much. And I ended up learning a lot from it. And now I wanted to give it back to people, my experience, and be able to share with others everything that we found in surf that I think it's unique. It's amazing. It's not that I'm saying that surfers and the sport itself, it's so special that everybody should touch. But I'm saying that there are elements in surfing that if you approach with this mystic view, they're very important and they are singular for you to understand life in a better way.
Yeah, definitely. It put things in a perspective, right? And and as you said, it's not only about the sport. It's about being a human being and understand our limits and face life in a different way. So yes, there is a lot to learn in surfing, even for non-surfer, right? So I hope even with this conversation with the podcast, we are able to reach people and interest people in a sport, in a way of life that actually is very beneficial. So today you also coach, right? A lot of
yes.
surfers. And I think what you just said is something that you are repeating to them. Is it like a kind of the first thing you say to them, or it's because what you said is very, 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 very important?
Any single person that you approach in life, and you want to help them, doesn't matter who you are for them. It can be your friend or your siblings or any kind of relationship, Alessandro. It's about understanding the other. It's not only about you, what you want to transmit to them. And that's how I like to work as a coach. I've been working with few key persons in my life, I totally understood that they had, all of them, different kind of thinking and different behaviors and personalities, and you have to be able to understand how they're gonna understand you on the best way possible. How you're gonna transmit our experience, how you're gonna be able to help them evolve as a professional surfer or as a human being on the best way possible. Because at the end, you don't want that person only to be successful in the water or as a professional athlete. You want that person to be successful as a human being. And that's what I do a lot. I try to understand every single person in their own way of approaching life. And by giving them all my experience back and be able to understand that sometimes they are not ready to cope with it. So I give a lot of respect to them. I totally understand that most of the guys that I work with, they are much younger than me, so they don't understand life as I do. And what I try to do is to give them a good example as an athlete too, like by having a lot of discipline and having a lot of focus on my life and put a lot of effort in things that I want to accomplish. And, any kind of good example that I can promote in the environment that we are living together, for me, it's very important for them to understand how they're going to be able to be successful in life. Not only in the water as a professional surfer or a big wave surfer, but also as a human being, being able to cope well with their emotion, and whatever comes to their life, they're going to be able to be balanced, to be in tune, and to have a good life. That worry is more important for me. For me, it's more about the human being than being, the super champion. It's being the super champion. It's good for you. You can get some sponsors, you make some money, you can make a living out of that. But then, if you have, all those people looking after you because you became a reference, you became a champion or someone that people are looking after, and you don't have a good mind, you don't have good examples to share with the new generation, I don't think it's a good thing. So for me, it's all connected. Life is connected. You can't talk about being a professional surfer or successful in anything you do in your life and forget about your emotions, forget about your spirituality. It's a combination of factors that I can't leave behind, But I totally respect everybody that I work with, I don't want them to be just like me, I want them to be whatever they want to be, I want them to be happy. I want them to be successful. And I'm just someone that work with them, and I'm learning a lot. Yeah. Probably learning more
than what you give.
Because I'm open all the time. Yeah, I don't know if you're a father, you're a parent, but as a father, as a parent, you learn more from being a parent than you teach. That's my point of view. And the same thing happened when you were a coach. You teach a lot of things that are common for you because you had to deal with those situations in life a lot. So I know how to build up a strategy to become a successful professional surfer, how to compete, how to deal with the media, how to deal with my sponsors. But there are a lot of things that are more important than that for me, and those are the simple things that I can deal with. Those are the most easy thing to deal with. You just say, you paddle this way, use this kind of equipment, you travel for that place, whenever you are competing, you follow these rules. there is something that I can share with them that I have a lot, and that's my knowledge. Especially when it comes to my environment, which is big wave surfing and having to deal with all sponsorship and surf forecast, media, reinventing myself, anything that it's relating to be successful, and have this kind of longevity that I have in my career. I have that a lot to change. I mean, not to change in a way to swap, but to give back to them, to help them to understand much better these elements.
Yeah.
But for me, that's not the most important part. The most important part is your head, like how you are evolving emotionally. How are you prepared to be a human being that is going to give back something to the world that it's very important, and not only trophies and accomplishment and money and maybe competition, greed. We need people that are more connected than apart.
It's like the difference between being a trainer and a coach. There is a whole world apart. Also between a coach and a mentor, right? It's
yes.
Coach really, I think, embodies the fact that you really want the other person to change by itself, not change because of you, like a mentor, right? Or change because you teach them something. You want them to become aware, right? And in that they improve themselves, becoming more aware. And I guess a lot of things you said, I let you talk. I agree because, for instance, fatherhood is such powerful thing to evolve, right? Psychologically. If your father, you start to put things in a different perspective, right? And
yes,
the priority completely changed, And I was on the first episode of the podcast. I was talking with Rob Machado, and he was saying that when you learn to be less selfish or selfless, then everything comes together, right? When you learn that you have to put everything else before you, then you achieve something. And I think it's very, very powerful. And what you are saying is exactly the same thing. I guess I never surf a big wave myself, like anything like even comparable with you, but there you cannot do anything, right? You can be trained, but you cannot predict with how the wave will close, how the wave will be powerful. And then maybe you need that extra thing that you are sharing with the people you coach, and with us today with the coaching, with the different kind of experience, like you were saying, what is going on in the brain, right? And what is in the brain is so powerful. So I try to follow you up, and I agree with you in a lot of.
No, and I agree with you 100%. You're on the right spot. And the more you try to control life, the worse it is for you. So it is better for us to understand that anything that life brings to us is important. It's a matter of adapting ourselves to it and get the best out of it, instead of trying to create something that we are looking for, but it's not what we need, Yeah. And the universe and life knows much more than we do. We have to be humble to understand that, and being a father, being a parent is what you just said. It's amazing, because you want them to understand what you say, but they have limits, and they are here not only to be your son or your daughter, but they are here to teach you lessons too. Yeah. And, any kind of relationship, any kind of interaction that we have in life, doesn't matter if it's only a human being interaction, or a family interaction, or a friend interaction, or community, or whatever, or a nature interaction or environment interaction. All these relationships that we have in life, they're very important as an experience for us to understand life much better, and to teach us how to live in a way where we can respect each other and support each other to evolve together and not separate. And surf, it's so pressure because, like I said from the start of our interview, we are in an element that we can't control. And I found that it's amazing, because I can't be a spoiled guy. If I'm a spoiled guy, I'm going to switch sports, because I'm going to a place or arena where I can control. But as a surfer, you cannot control. And that's amazing, So you go out and you have to cope with those elements, and you have to be able to find pleasure. Doesn't matter what kind of situation you are dealing with. And I love it, I just love it.
But then I have a question for you. I didn't prepare this question, but it came to mind. Olympics. Right?
Okay.
It's like a huge debate of people saying, in Tokyo, they should have created a wave pool because like this, you would add like a lot of, let's say, better show and better wave. And while they decided to do it in the sea, where basically they don't know even if there's going to be wave because Japan is not that famous for waves, right? So if I follow what you were just saying, then definitely Olympics must always happen in the sea, never on a wave pool. Because wave pool, you can control in a certain way, right?
Well, how can we deny technology in our lives?
We cannot.
We can't leave technology out of our life. We're going to have to use technology for the rest of our life. The question here is, how are we going to use technology? How are we going to use technology in our favor, but not being dependable and not forgetting our measures, feelings and emotions in life, where we can really get connected to our essential things and to the universe and to nature, not being able to forget how important those elements are. But it's undeniable that we will have to deal with technology for the rest of our lives. And we will have to use technology for the rest of our life. For example, I don't know where you are, but if you are in Italy, I'm in Brazil, and we are talking to each other and seeing each other, and it is so perfect.
Yes.
And why not creating a wave that can be produced, we surf it at a certain time and be broadcasted to the whole world. And by doing that, we get more people connected. I think it's sport and it's business.
Yeah.
Well, but business, it's not what we expect from life. I totally agree. For me, I don't live to do business. I do business because I wanted to have a good quality life.
Yeah.
Business is not my main thing in life. Business is something that I do to be able to survive and have the life that I'm looking for. Some people, they think business is everything. I don't think business is everything. But I do love technology. Technology is very important. It's something that we create that can solve a lot of problems. And we can deal with both without to forget and be able to deny any of them. I think it's a smart way to do it,
Definitely. No, I agree. It's like two different kind of objectives. totally separate.
Mhm.
Each one of them, they coexist as long we don't go for just one of them.
We always say that our environment is so special, that we have this great relationship with nature, that we learn a lot, that we are looking for a life that is sustainable, and that we respect each other, that we travel a lot, and we know how to deal with all different kind of culture, religion, values. We are proud of our environment. We are proud of our sport. But to get people connect to our sport, it's not easy, because you know how hard it is to surf. Only few places they have waves, especially if you want to go out in a place where it's comfortable. You're looking for the tropical places where the weather is more comfortable and friendly. But if you create places, artificial waves,
yeah,
and places where you can take surfing to countries and places where we never thought before, we can also take that environment with us. We can take our surf culture and share with more people.
Yeah.
And by doing that, we can probably, help the world to be more sustainable, to be more friendly.
Yeah.
So in my view, in life, in every challenging, in every obstacle, there is opportunity.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think they want us to be part of the Olympic Games and skate and climbing, because they want to change. They want to be closer to the youth.
Yeah.
They wanted to bring something different to the Olympic Games. And why not use that opportunity to take our values into the Olympic Games? Okay. And not only thinking about performance. Oh, the waves are not so great. Oh, it's going to be artificial waves. I don't care, in my life, surfing is important, but it's not more important than talking to you, than talking to my beloved family and friends. And it's not more important than my relationships. It's not more important than my life,
But it's so important that we reach there, right? That we are Olympics, and that definitely will attract more people to the idea of surfing, right?
Yeah, like everything that goes on nowadays in our life, and it's gonna be changing forever, But nowadays, it's all about social media. I think I found social media, it's a cool thing, but you can have two types of relationship with social media. One, you can use social media, and the other one, social media can use you.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, Olympic Games, they are pretty cool, but it's a competition, and it's very important. Everybody wants to win, but there is a message that you want to send to the world that is more important than winning.
Yes.
Than a gold medal,
Definitely.
And that's how I like to approach life. I like to approach life looking for things that are more sustainable than just winning and greed and material things that you can gather and build an empire. I don't think that's my motivation in life. For sure, that's not my motivation in life. So anything that I step into in life is to be able to reconnect with myself, or to share my experience, or to change the environment and the elements in a better way. Not only because I want something out of that it's going to be cool for me,
But then I guess what you're saying at the beginning, it goes back to be human, right? And
yeah.
Human is the simple things, right? It's not. Yes, sometimes we complicate our life because we want more, we want different things, but
it's part of our life. We're not going to be able to deny that, and that's why we got here, because we're always asking for something new. You want something better in your life, but how are you going to create balance in between wanting to be and not only being searching for that and going around your tail all the time or in a rat wheel. You never stop. That we are connected to things that we can touch. For us to be successful nowadays is to collect a lot of material things, to have a lot of cars or houses or planes or choppers, whatever, and that's how we build our society. If you are successful, you have money and you have material things. But little by little, we're going to start to change that. We're not going to think in the near future that being successful it's to have a lot of material things. Being successful, it's going to be totally different than what it is today.
Yeah.
In my view, it's having time and healthy and friends that you can trust and being in peace with yourself. That's how you're going to measure how successful people will be in the future, not how we measure today.
You need to be successful first for yourself rather than for the others. And then when you understand that, you accomplish.
And following your way of thinking, how can you change the world in a better place if you're not in balance?
No.
That's the most important thing. You have to be able to really go deep on yourself and understand your feelings and cure yourself. And then you're going to do your part for the world. It's you and you. Some people nowadays, it's a rule that every personality likes to follow. If you start to be very successful, you wanted to have how do you say that in English? You wanted to have some kind of project that would be social productive, like you give back to society, or you start to donate money, you start to do a lot of things to help people, which I think it's really nice. It's really, really nice. But if you look inside those personalities' life, they don't have balance, and that's the most important thing. How do you teach people in life? By example. Examples are the most powerful things in life.
Yeah.
How you want to be a father if you don't give a good example to your son or daughter? That's how you educate people in life. So what I'm trying to say here, the most important changing you can do in the world is inside yourself, changing yourself and being balanced. That's how you're going to touch people's life in a good way. Not only, creating an image that everybody loves in the social media. Oh, that person has the perfect life, the best family, adopt a lot of people and, kids all over the world, donate a lot of money to people that are suffering. That's cool. That's really nice. But that can be something that is just there on the surface, but what it's underneath.
Yeah. Is the facade is not the core, right?
And and we live out of image. Our life is based on image. And that's dangerous. That's really dangerous, because you are creating people that are suffering a lot because they wanted to be accepted. They wanted to be part of something that they don't understand very well.
Yeah. We need more people that help people to understand that what really matters is not what you see, it's more deep. But unfortunately, the society is built around that, as you said. So
yeah. Do you really think that if we had balance in our lives, would you go out and fight? Would you go out and create wars and suffering? No. If everybody was balanced, everybody was happy, we didn't we didn't need to go through all the suffering that we are going through, So I think it's, I'm not judging and say, okay, let's stop doing this thing. I think it's pretty cool. If you want to help people, it's better than not doing it. But before you start to help people, go and help yourself.
I agree with you. Actually, to close on the wave pool, I was talking 1 week ago with Shane Beshen,
Okay.
famous world champion, and basically he was telling me that in terms of sustainability, wave pool today they consume much less water than golf course, like 2 holes in a golf course, and these things like technology is improving more and more, and to bring this, because we were talking about bring surfing in the desert, right? Then we were saying if you can create pools in the desert, like an example, you can attract a lot of people into the surf. Mm-hmm. And if you do it right, with the right spirit, with the right positiveness, then you can really help and change. And so, mm-hmm. Of course, in a certain way, it links to what you're saying. You need to do things that are very meaningful, but also sustainable. In order that it's not a business, is something that is much more than that, right? So mm-hmm. It's a bit large topic, but I think we went to the core of it. Cool. So I will not steal a lot of your time, but I prepare a lot of questions about surf. But I think what we are saying is much more important than anything else. So, and actually, it's really very nice to talk to you about all of this. I have 2 questions more. The first
one
is it's personal, and the second question is regarding fear. Something that was interesting for me. Personal question. People define you surf legend. If I Google your name in internet, it becomes big wave surf legend. Do you agree when people define you surf legend?
Well, maybe because I have been around for a long time, because I did a lot of things already, because I reinvented myself, because I became the first big wave world champion when they did the event at Todos Santos at 9.8. And then, I broke the world record by surfing the biggest waves with my team partner, Araldo Gueiros at Mavericks. And then, my community started to create the Big Wave World Tour. And then at the first year, I became the champion. And, all others, projects that I have done in my whole life, by being a professional surfer and trying to survive and be surrounded by these elements, And you know what? I think it's funny, Alessandro. My life, it hasn't been easy, We're always looking for something that is going to suit us in the best way possible. And I thought surfing would be, that tool that I was looking for. And of course, I think that I was right. I'm sure that I was right, because look where I am. I'm very successful and I have everything I want. I have the kind of lifestyle that I look for. But I had to deal with a lot of things that I wasn't expect at all, especially because I choose big wave surfing. And it's very stressful. You go through a lot of things that you didn't want to go through. And, it's hard on the body. A lot of injuries. It's hard on a personal life because you have to travel last minute and you leave behind your family. So it's stressful. It's very stressful physically and mentally. But somehow at the middle of this whole path that I have been walking through as a surfer, I learned how to be grateful and how to cope with all these challenges and how to give my best And the result is that people are considering me as a surf legend. that's my point of view, because I'm a survivor. Yeah. And some people, by doing things from their heart, they get connected to this situation in a point that is so strong that people start to appreciate. And I am very, very happy that I can live from a sport that I love so much, that I learned how to cope with in the best way possible, and that I still can give back a little bit. And doesn't matter where I'm going to be years from now. If I have a chance, I'm going to still do it. Yeah. I don't know if you're going to be able to surf in the moon, or we're going to be able to have a lot of wave pools around the world, and a lot of tours over the internet, yeah. Because we know everything is going to change. That's what I'm saying here. But I want to be part of it, and yeah. I'm part of it, and not in a bad way, in a good way.
Yeah. But you're saying I want to be able to give back a little bit. In the way it looks like you're giving back a lot. Because if you are able to transmit what you said to me in now 40 minutes we're talking to the people around you, being a professional surfer or being just people that wants to meet you and shake your hand, if you're able to do that, it's very powerful. So I think you're giving back a lot, not a little bit, in my opinion.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I read one thing that you said, that it was about fear. And you said fear lets you know the limit, right? Did you remember saying that, first of all?
Fear, it's very important for you to understand the surroundings where you're stepping into and prepare yourself to do it. So when it comes to risk management, you cannot do it if you not evaluate the situation. And if you are scared, if you are feeling something abnormal, if you are having a feeling of fear, that's an alert for you. And you have to understand that you have to get ready for something that is coming on your way. And let's say that you're not dealing with fear, or you are just denying fear in your life. That's very risky.
Definitely.
Because you are running away from something that came to you as an emotion to bring you awareness of a risk situation. In my point of view, the best way to do is cope with fear by facing it and understanding it. It's just another emotion. And emotions, they don't ask permission to step in. They just come in. And if you are feeling somehow your heart pumping because you're fearing something, there is a message there.
Yeah.
And how are you going to deny that? You're going to evaluate. Deny is the wrong way to do it. Evaluate, training your mind, dominating your emotion, and understanding your fears so you can risk management your life. Not only going for it because you think you have a lot of courage, because you have a lot of guts. No, prepare yourself. You have to be a little bit crazy, but just a little bit. The rest comes from preparation. And I like that, you have to be respectful about life. It's funny. Yesterday I was thinking about something that Kelly once said to me when we bumped at a contest at Pipeline. I was in the backstage, and when he saw me, he said, "Oh, here's the man that pursued fear. That pursued death."
Oh.
And I said, "Oh, no." And that's the way he likes to think about me, And I said, "No, I'm not." I didn't have the right answer for him at that point, And so I just said something like, "No, come on. I just like to live my life, But, it's not that I pursued death. It's not that people that likes to risk their lives, they are looking for a way of dying in an element that they like. I don't want to die surfing. I want to die after living for so long. I want to live as much as I can.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of being able to cope with situations that most of people don't.
Yeah.
And being able to train as hard as you can to get to a point where you can overcome your limits, because that's what we are doing as human beings all the time. Every new generation are trying to get a little bit further.
Of course.
And if you don't have those kind of people, mindset, they're looking for something else, we're going to stop evolving.
Of course. Yeah.
Well, some of them will have some bad injuries, accidents. Some will end up dying. But some will be able to cope with everything and still survive and learning a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's how I like to look to myself. I don't like to look to myself and say, "Oh, this guy is pursuing death." Is that how I pronounce it? Do you understand me? Like pursuing, like following. Yeah, So I'm not that kind. I'm not. It's the other way around.
Yeah.
I'm looking for beautiful sunrise, beautiful sunset. Whenever I'm able to be in the water, checking the sunset and the moon is rising, I found that's the most amazing thing when you're a surfer. You go out for a surf session at the end of the day and you check the sunset, the moon is rising, and you see dolphins. It's so beautiful. That's how I pursue in my life. What I look for, what I really wanted to get the most out of surfing is those special moments.
Yeah. It's not about if I well understood, it's not about insanity. It's about awareness. That is.
It is. I mean, you need to be, a little bit insane, but out of 100%, I would say 5% you're a little bit insane. Have to have that courage to expose yourself to situations you have never been before, especially because it's a new sport. Big wave surfing, it's something that we started to do not more than 100 years ago, So it's young. It's very young.
Yeah.
And, and now we have technology. Now we can go even further. In my times and even before my times, or it was even harder, it's getting... It's not that it's getting easier, but, it's getting more... professionals. It's getting more surrounded by people that are very professional, and we have more investment. So it is easier for us to get surrounded by equipments that are supporting all the big wave surfers to go out and break records and surf bigger waves and performers much harder and much better.
Yeah, it's a progression, as you were saying before.
It's a progression. It's a progression, and you need people to push the limits. You need people to push the limits, and technology is over here to help us, and also it's all together, combined at the same time. You have to have the mentality of a surfer that wants to to push the limit. You have to have the mentality of the surfer that wants to train really hard to be able to push the limits and exposure himself to points and situations that nobody else was before. And, we have technology along, and everything combined. At the end, you're going to see a better performance. You're going to see people surfing bigger waves, performance much better, and you're going to have more safety surrounded. You're going to have an element that's surrounded by safety equipment, like life vests, jet skis, GPS, drones that can find you. People that are more trained in jet ski, over the jet ski, people working as a team on the cliffs or in an ambulance at the beach waiting for you. So this whole scenario, it's very important for us to understand that everything that we are living now, it's not for granted. It's not that we just created. I'm saying that when the first surfer thought about going out and surf a big wave, and they started to evolve as a community, and then they started to build better equipment. They started to build better technology and methodology to approach big wave surfing. So now we have all those things combined that we've been doing for so long, but we still need the major element, which is human being and the willing to overcome all the obstacles. But it's just a matter of the movement, the natural movement of life.
Definitely.
That's how life works,
Yeah.
You put everything together, and then you get a good result.
Definitely, I totally agree with you. This interview has been very inspiring, Carlos. Really, it's like I think one of the best I have done so far. So thank you for taking the time with me. We finish our interview with a short Q&A session. So please answer the first thing that comes up to your mind. Okay?
Okay.
The best surfboard that you ever ridden?
Japanese surfboard that I used on the event at Todos Santos 9-8 at the final, and I won the event.
Your favorite shaper?
It's Claudio Hennick.
Claudio Hennick?
Yeah,
from
Alema. He's from Brazil.
From Brazil. Personal question, your favorite song?
I like Bob Marley.
Nice, yes. And he's like a legend, right?
Yeah.
For sure. Your favorite surf spot?
Jaws.
Your favorite big wave surfer today?
I would say it's Kailani, because he pedals, he tows, he foils. He's a true waterman.
Kailani. And the last question is a little bit unusual. We ask everybody, has nothing to do with surf, but I'm sure you're going to like it. We want to know your best relationship advice.
Oh, let me think. That would be, don't try to change your relationship. The person that you are relating with, never try to change them.
Okay. Very important, right?
Yeah.
You need to be like you are, and then people that on the other side for what you are, not for what you.
Because that's not gonna work,
Yeah, sooner or later it's gonna break, right? Cool, fantastic. Thanks a lot, Carlos, for being on the show with me today, and I look forward to talk to you very soon.
Thank you, Alessandro.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Aloha.
Hi, it's me again. I hope you enjoyed our today's episode. If you want to know more about us, please follow www.templeofsurf.com and all our social media. Mahalo!